Hello, President of Ferry Ads, and I'm sitting here with Gary Angiuli of Angiuli Gentile law firm, and essentially I want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for coming.
Nice to be here, David.
And you've been a law firm now for over 25 years.
25 years. That's right.
Throughout the years, you've been very active in the community. I see your name in the paper all the time. Could you tell me something about what you've done over those years, just to be part of the Staten Island community?
Well, a long time ago, I realized that my business was going to be blessed, and if my business was blessed, that we really needed the opportunity to serve the community as well. So early on in my career, I became involved in a string of charities along the way, starting with, I think it was Meals on Wheels originally. I was on the board of directors there. The YMCA, Staten Island YMCA, was on the South Shore Committee, and then ultimately the board of directors. Staten Island, College of Staten Island Foundation, St. George Theater, the Staten Island Chamber of Commerce, and been involved in many, many other just general community functions. How
were you involved? You're a lawyer, so, I mean, were you giving legal advice? Were you actually hands-on? I mean, what did you do?
Well, you know, the committee functions range from business advice typically to fundraising activities. Once in a while, some legal questions would come up that would require some expertise. But by and large, it was more general business advice.
What did you get out of it? I mean, you know what? You said your business was blessed. What feelings do you? Because I know I've done a lot of charity work as well, and a lot of times when you do this, I find it to be fulfilling. I feel as though I get as much out of it, if not more, than actually what I give, just because, you know, there's a deeper feeling to it. I mean, do you share that?
Well, absolutely, David. In fact, you know, when you think back at all the things that you've done through the years, and there were even some that were off Staten Island, like the Luzerne Music Center that works with gifted young classical musicians. It's upstate New York at Lake Luzerne. When you work with these various organizations and you see the challenges that they have in raising funds and getting notoriety and, you know, just running their day-to-day operations, you feel really special when you're able to contribute in some way and help those organizations grow past where they might ordinarily have been. I mean, when I think of the St. George Theater and the wonderful renovations that are going on there, and how that theater is just blossoming into a wonderful organization.
I remember going there as a kid. It was amazing.
So it's really a terrific feeling to see some of the things that you've touched go on and just become, you know, great organizations.
Yeah, it's like planting a seed.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, you're the ambassador of the annual awards reception for the SADC. Can you tell me a little bit about the event?
Yes, I can. The event is on November 3rd, and it's taking place at the Vanderbilt, which is on Father Capodanno Boulevard, as everyone knows. Wonderful restaurant. There are 4 honorees this year. It's Councilman Vincent Ignazio. There's Raymond Masucci, Ram Chircuri, always difficult saying his name, but he's just such a wonderful guy. I feel badly that I struggle with his name. And the South Shore Rotary as an organization, all 4 of which have just done, you know, just amazing things in the community and are just always there to help this community. This is an event that's gone on for 14 years. Every year it's more wonderful than the next, and they're just such great honorees this year. To be in their presence, to talk to them, to hear about the things that they've done and their community involvement, and the people you'll meet at this event. It's just something.
It's a great networking event for business people as well.
It's a great networking event for business people.
Yeah, I've found that myself. I've attended a number of years, and I've always been, you know, you know, Staten Island is 500,000 people, but the business community is a very, very small community. And this is one of those events where you get people from the real estate businesses, you get retail businesses, you get all the professionals. I mean, I find it to be a great place for networking.
Well, generally speaking, all the Staten Island Economic Development Corporation events are wonderful. I mean, some of the most prominent business people in Staten Island are involved with that organization. I'm proud to be an ambassador in that organization.
Very cool. Now, there are 2 points of involvement that I'd like to talk about specifically. The Senior Information Day. Can you explain to me a little bit about that?
Sure. My partner, Angiuli Gentile, we have several divisions in our law firm. One has to do with elder law and estate planning, which is headed by my partner, Angiuli Gentile. We also do commercial transactions and franchise law, as well as we have an entire injury division that does Social Security, disability, workers' compensation, and personal injury. But the Senior Day activities are an opportunity for us to get out there talk to the seniors in the community. There's tremendous movement in the legal community about planning for the baby boomers today. And this part of our practice has just exploded in the last 4 or 5 years. There are so many things that people don't understand about how to protect their assets from government intervention later in life. And the things they need to do are basically so simple if they would just talk to a qualified attorney. I truly understand what you're saying, because I found that in planning for my own retirement, I mean, I'm not even 50 just yet, but the situation is that I find it mind-boggling. There's so much out there between estate planning, because I have children and I want to make sure that, you know, I leave the most I possibly can to them. Retirement, everything else, I just find even insurance, for life insurance, that aspect, is very, very confusing. And I know my mom, she definitely, I mean, she's been through this, and it was going through it with her was just incredibly confusing. Now, if you have someone who is a senior and they do want to take part in this, how would they go about being in touch with you? How do we know where you're going to be? Well, typically on our website, aglawnyc.com, we post events that are coming up. So if we were doing a senior day type of event, we would post it. There are also various organizations that run these events that would advertise them in publications such as the Staten Island Advance, or post them online. So you can find them in all the usual ways. But our website, aglawnyc.com, is where people, if they just go down, click on Firm News, there's a calendar of what's going on.
Now, you counsel young professionals as well?
We do. Yes.
And could you explain a little bit about that?
Well, that's through the Staten Island Chamber of Commerce. They have a young professional division, and there are various events that take place, including some mentoring programs, which I've been involved in.
I've always believed in mentors. I mean, since I started in business, I've always had mentors, some older than me, some even younger than me, but I've always looked at other people who bring other skills to the table that I don't possess, and I try to learn from them, and I think that's a wonderful program.
Well, it's really interesting, because even as a mentor, sometimes you learn from the person you're trying to teach.
Yeah,
it's a great
absolutely. Thing. It keeps you sharp. It definitely keeps you going. Also, you're raising money for autism. How are you doing that?
Speaks.
Yes.
Well, I embarked on a lifelong dream. This year I've been training for the New York Marathon, which is November 6th.
That's amazing.
And so I thought if I was going to do it, which seemed like a crazy idea when I started, the least I could do was try and raise some money for a charity in the process, which gave me a guaranteed slot in the marathon.
And you've been a runner your whole life?
No, I haven't. That's the interesting thing. I've really, I've run on and off through my life, but never seriously. I remember seeing a movie when I was very young about marathoners, and it stuck in my mind that I always thought, what's this marathon thing, you know? And I have some very good friends of mine who've run the marathon multiple times, and I would go to their homes and see their plaques, and I would just say, how do you do it? You know, how do you run 26.1 miles? And they would say to me, you can do it.
You get a plaque when you finish?
Well, I guess if you finish. Yeah. I know you get a medal, but I think there's probably some online photos and stuff that you can buy. Yeah. So it's really exciting, and it gave me the opportunity to raise some money for autism, which is just a very underfunded problem in our community. So people are sponsoring you for how many miles you go, or? No, they just sponsor you for the event. It's it's not a situation where they say we'll give you $1 a mile. They just make a contribution. So to put you on the spot, if a friend from Staten Island wanted to sponsor you, how would they go about doing that? On my Facebook page, you can just go to the Autism Speaks link. Click on it, and you can make a pledge, or I walk around with little pieces of paper where you can pledge. Is that Angiuli Gentile, or is that Gary Angiuli? It's Gary Angiuli. Okay. All right. Now, you're training. How many miles are you running now? Last week, I ran about 45 miles. Really? That's amazing. Now, besides physical training, what about mental training? I mean, is there anything you have to do to make yourself because they say once you hit the wall, you're kind of on autopilot. I mean, is there anything, have you achieved that yet? I know they say there's the runner's high. I mean, have you gotten that? I've had the runner's high. I've had a couple of the runner's lows, too, and they're not fun. When that happens, you just wonder what would happen if I were in the marathon. How would I go forward? But from what I'm told from my friends, they say, look, when you get out there are 2 million people lining the streets of New York, going through every wonderfully diverse ethnic neighborhood.
And they're chanting you. They're cheering you on, right?
Cheering you on, and they say to me that the adrenaline and the crowd is just so wonderful that you will finish. So I'm kind of counting on that because I haven't really been an athlete my whole life, and I'm only training for 11 months, which sounds like a long time, but really isn't in the world of running.
Well, listen, that's tremendous. Good luck.
Thank you,
Thank you
David.
for coming.
Thank you.